someone sold the business yesterday and came to you for advice about how to handle this couple of years right after, what would your advice be?
There's only a couple of reasons someone sells a business, right? Mm-hmm. You're burned out, or there's an economic incentive to do so, or the team's tired, or you see a better opportunity, or you want to move on. And so I think the first question is, why did you do it? And I think that alone will unpack a lot of conversation about how you got there. And then the next question is, after that, so where do you want to go next? And I think the natural state is always why I want to keep doing what I was doing, because that's what I know. And again, we talked earlier about identity, right? And if your identity is wrapped up in why I was doing this, I don't even know who I am now. That seems terrifying or is fucking awesome, depending on how you frame it, right? The scariest canvas you ever look at is the blank one. It's so easy when there's stuff on the canvas to be like, oh yeah, I'd change this, or I'm happy to be an editor. It's real hard to be a creator. And so I think, the blank canvas problem is real for anyone, anywhere who's making anything, whether that's an entrepreneur pursuing their next idea, or even trying to define or design their identity. I think that's a real thing. But I think the first question starts with, why did you do it? And again, I would imagine, because I've had this conversation with other founders, when you ask that question, there's 4 or 5 layers to really unpack even that question. Because again, there's the surface level of maybe what you told your investors, or maybe what you told the team. But then there's what were you really thinking when you were laying in bed at night? And again, was it a trauma-driven decision of like, I need to get rid of this thing. I can't do it anymore. Or was it like opportunistic of like, this buyer came along and offered me so much money, my eyeballs exploded in my head. I couldn't believe it. And I think once you go there, people don't give enough credit, I think, to their own internal monologue and are quick to discount it and say, well, they just came along and offered me this money, but if you believed it was bigger, you would have stayed. Or if you knew it was done, you would have left, or whatever that is. So I think the first question is, why now? Why did you do that? And I think there's a very rich vein of conversation in there. And then when you peel that back, before I even would take the founder looking forward, what do you want to do next? I'd spend a lot of time talking about, well, what did you love while you were doing when you were doing it? What was your favorite part? And again, in my brain, when I think about the 7 years now, they all kind of blend together. I'm a good self-liar in my own head of like, oh, it's all great. We had all kinds of good times. But if I really think back on some of the times where it was like really terrifying, or something bad happened, or we lost a key customer, or a major account fell through, there's those moments where it was terror. It was horrific. In that moment, right? Obviously, we're fine in the end. So I think I'd spend a lot of time doing that. And I think most founders, what makes them unique is they're really good at looking forward. They tend to be awful at being introspective because it's dark and scary and hard and there's no good answers. And that's why, most founders probably don't need a coach. They need a psychiatrist, and they need to actually deal with their inner monologue of what they're doing in the first place. But that's hard and that's dark and that's scary. And most people don't want to do that. So I think I'd spend more time talking about what did you do before we even get to where do you want to go. And my goal in doing that, if I could get it right, I don't know if I could, would be, I don't give any advice about where to go. If you ask the right questions, the founder says out loud what they want to do and they make the decision. And it's my job to just help them say it out loud and have the confidence behind it, because the answer they already know. But again, it's easy not to go there.